For me, when my friend of 12 plus years got incredibly pissed at me for having a bad reaction to salvia, my friend bought it from an asshole who told her it was genuine weed. I was incredibly nauseous and hallucinating, and she was upset she couldn't go clubbing. It took 3 people to convince me it wasn't my fault. There was a woman I knew in HS who I lost touch with for about 20 years. My daughter actually found her on FB and I was happy to hear from her. But the more convos we had, the more I realized how little she had grown over the years. She was still into drugs and drama. I'm not, and haven't been since I had kids. When she said we should get a hotel room and do some coke, how much fun would that be? My stomach turned. No more talking. I feel bad that I didn't say why, just ghosted. Junior high/high school BFF slept with my first ever, and only, girlfriend. Then yelled at me for being too upset about the whole thing. I broke my foot and I was in plaster and under strict orders to stay off it completely or risk permanently damaging it. To make it worse, I have nerve damage in the other leg, which means my foot doesn't work properly. I have other health issues and can't work. Even though she lives around the corner from me and was supposedly my best friend, she didn't even offer to help me at all. Not even an offer of dinner, even though I would do that type of thing for her, like make chicken soup from scratch when she had the flu. It really hurt my feelings and made me start to think that she didn't value me the way I valued her. Then about 4 weeks after I'd broken my foot, she texted me to ask me to do some sewing for her. When I replied that I wouldn't be able to sew for many weeks and was hurt that she didn't know that, she sent me a vicious reply about how she was in pain all the time and still managed to go to work. Then sent my mother a text saying she was tired of my pity party. I decided then that she was not the kind of person I had thought she was, and I ended our friendship. We had been friends since I was 15 and we're 47. When her goal every time we went out was to sleep with someone, usually married, taken people. She was my roommate and it was a safety issue to have strangers in our place all the time as well. The moment I saw my friends going along with their friend by bullying a really sweet girl who was annoying, yay, but she didn't deserve that and I expected a bit more maturity from them. Pretty close friend a couple years ago. I gave her my passport application because she was to be my guarantor, and ended up having a full-fledged irrational panic attack over the notion of her possibly stealing my identity with all that private information. She had been involved in some shady things in the past but had been nothing but reliable with me. But something in me just couldn't trust her. As I unpacked the feelings, I thought of the toxic traits that kept her at arm's length for me: angry, reactive, pot-stirring, gossipy, prone to lying as a means of bonding, judgmental. I realized that even if what we had as friends was great, it was only ever with that distance. I couldn't bridge that gap mentally because I didn't trust her at her core. I couldn't relax my arms around her, so to speak. And that's not good for her, either. So I let her go. It was affirmed to be the right decision for me later on when my partner ran into her at her new job. He'd never met her in person but recognized her. He excitedly said hello and she launched into an unhinged tirade trying to get him on her side while slandering me. He thought she was nuts because all I'd ever told him was that I felt like we couldn't connect in a way that we needed to, so we'd parted ways. She's just not a fit for my calm life. I had a friend back in high school who constantly gave me the silent treatment, and it was always for something really minor. I would always have to approach her first and ask her what I did wrong. At one point, I don't recall exactly why, but I didn't approach her first like I normally do, and the silent treatment actually became drawn out for months. So in the end, the friend did approach me and said a mutual friend of ours said we should work it out. But instead of feeling relieved that she was talking to me again, I actually felt indifferent about this. Also, after months of not speaking to each other, it was really awkward, in my perspective, to talk to her like before. So, I just straight out told her we couldn't be as close as we were before, which was sad because I actually considered her one of my bestest friends at the time. My former friend was introduced to her now fiancé by me. Immediately when they started dating, he totally turned on me, He sent me abusive messages and deliberately messed with my other friend's head, who was having a relatively psychotic at the time due to severe depression. I couldn't meet my girlfriend without him being there. He was incredibly racist and would send notes to Puck in our UNI classes under other people's names saying horrible things just to watch the drama ensue. He justified this because he was in the Amnesty Society and vegan. He said this because apparently it offset his awful personality. Anyway, eventually I called him out in a calm and respectful manner, and my friend got really mad at me. I didn't mention she was dating an asshole who was at least emotionally abusive, but just decided to cut it off then. She was always very clingy and one-track minded in relationships, but also a serial cheater. Last I heard she cheated on his twice, but though bought a house together age 22, so they're now stuck in this unhappy situation. As soon as they badmouth other women when they leave the room. Subscribe. Please.